U for understand and two for me. Wait a second, that made absolutely no sense. Why? Because I need to use proper grammar, which means there's a sentence structure. There are elements to speech, verb, nouns, and they have to be in the proper order in order for you to understand me, which is what I was trying to say. That truth is easy to understand with language, but guess what? If you are healing from trauma, there is a language that the body has that we need to learn if we want to heal from trauma. And the language of the body in somatic experiencing, we use the acronym SIBAM to describe the elements or the grammar elements needed in order to understand the body. And it stands for sensation, image, behavior, affect, and meaning. Today, I want to talk about 3 behaviors that reveal something your body is trying to tell you. And when we don't listen to the body, what we tend to try to do is force it to do what we want it to do. And I kind of liken that. I had a friend where we came across some people that speak Spanish, and she was trying to talk to them in English. They only spoke Spanish, and so what she did was she spoke more loud. And I'm looking at her thinking, just because you're talking louder is not going to help them to understand it better because you're not speaking their language. Well, we sometimes do that with our body. We think, I'm going to speak more loud by trying to force you or have more willpower to force you to do what I want you to do. But that doesn't work. The foundation for healing from trauma is an inner felt sense of safety. Regardless of whatever trauma you went through, whether that was narcissistic parents, physical, sexual, emotional abuse, bullying, medical trauma. Trauma can come from many different sources, but the foundation that keeps it alive is that it stole your inner felt sense of safety. And so as I go through these behaviors, what I wanted to bring out was the fact that this is your body's way of trying to communicate with you that it doesn't feel safe. First behavior I wanted to mention was eye contact. Having difficulty making eye contact or feeling like your eyes are like really shifty, right? And sometimes people can say, oh, they're hiding something. I guess in a way, your body's trying to hide the shame and the fear and the lack of safety that you experienced in childhood, where maybe you learned being seen was met with danger, shame, threat. And so if we don't understand what our body is saying, that it doesn't feel safe, then we try to force something. Now we overwhelm our body. We go into then shutdown because the body's like, do you not see that I don't feel safe? Well, hello, freeze response, right? E-brake goes up in the body. But what we can start doing is priming our nervous system by noticing, okay, when I'm out and I don't feel safe, we can start orienting to safety. Instead of there are people I need to make eye contact, we can start noticing and showing our nervous system like, look, these are the colors I see. We can gently look around and notice our environment. Because when we don't feel safe, our body is not there in the present. It's in the moments of your trauma in the past. And so orienting with your eyes instead of forcing the eye contact right then and there starts priming your body to realize that I can feel that fear and realize that I'm in the present and it's not happening right now. Behavior number 2, procrastination. In other words, you have things you want to do and you have a pattern of like, every time I want to do these things, my body just puts it off. And I'm trying to almost whip my body into shape to force myself to do them. And it just doesn't go there. Well, again, procrastination is communication from your body. It's shutting you down. It's pulling up that brake on your body. And if you just force it by talking louder, like my friend did, and just trying to force it, it's going to view you as a threat because you're not listening, right? So something to help with procrastination is to start noticing it, noticing the pattern, and then asking your body, what is it afraid will happen if you do the things that you want to do? I had a conversation with a friend of mine who was going through this, and I asked her that question. I was like, what do you think your body's trying to keep you safe from? And she thought about it for a moment and she said, overwhelm. She goes, but then that doesn't make sense because then I'm overwhelmed because I'm not getting the things done. And so that's the reality, is that our body's trying to protect us from something in a maladaptive way, but it doesn't realize that. And until we listen to its story and we help it with its fears, what it thinks will happen, it's going to keep us stuck no matter how much willpower you put in or how loud you try speaking to it. We need to learn to listen to what the body's trying to tell us. The third behavior is avoidance. This could be avoiding opening an email, avoiding answering the phone, avoiding any kind of connection. If connection at one time in your life was not safe, avoidance is your body's way of letting you know it still thinks it's there in the past, and thinking that any type of connection is going to cause the same exact horror and trauma that you experienced in childhood. And so once you know that, it's not about forcing and overwhelming your nervous system. It's about listening to its message, realizing what it's trying to say, and then starting to support the nervous system. And one of the ways we do that is if we have to open an email and we notice that like tension come up in our body, we can start noticing it, orienting to our space. Again, it sounds like such a simple thing. Michelle's always talking about orienting, but we have to remember that our body can somatically time travel. So when it goes into its old stories, it thinks you're in the past. And so before you open that email and you notice that tension, maybe putting a hand on the area that's holding the old story and using your eyes to show your body where you're at. So you have one foot in the old story and one foot in the present. And that starts helping your nervous system to update and realize once again that it can feel an emotion, it can feel scared, it can feel overwhelmed, and realize that it's not happening now. I'm sharing these tips with you so that you can start communicating with your body, so you can start having a relationship between your mind and your body. But I do want to let you know that doing this work is not easy. In fact, in our last group coaching meeting in the School of Transformation, one member, we were doing exercises to regulate our nervous system, and one member was like, I'm not sensing anything different. And so I took 5 minutes with her and we worked with her nervous system together, and she was able to notice and feel a shift. And the reason for that is sometimes doing this work alone is too hard. If we didn't have co-regulation in childhood, then learning these tools, we might have the knowledge, but the second we try to do them, the body is just overactivated. So having that co-regulation is necessary. So if you feel like you're trying to orient, you're trying to apply the things you're learning on different videos, but it's not working, it's not because you're broken beyond repair, but it might mean that your body needs extra support. So make sure you reach out and find support, whether it's with myself or with someone else that is able to give you the co-regulation needed to support your nervous system.